We're here to celebrate the life of Steve Seljeskog.
So one of many great memories of Steve, one of many, we were playing in the 2012 member guest at Arrowhead Country Club. And we had played all weekend and worked our butt off, and we get to the very last two holes. And the situation was we need to win both holes and go to the Derby, and if we lose, our weekend's over. And we get to the second to last hole, and I'm standing over a 12-foot putt with a huge swing to the left. And I send it on its line, and it hits the hill and takes a break, and it's going center cup and drops. And we win. And so now there's just one hole left. We win, we go to the Derby. Lose or tie, our weekend's over. And I hit a terrible drive, and I hit a terrible second shot, and I go in my pocket, which means I'm out of the hole. It's all up to Steve. Steve bumps it up onto the green, and he's got about an 18-foot putt, and it breaks left, and then it breaks back right, and it's almost impossible. And we're standing on the green together, and right next to each other, and he says, "I don't know if I can do this, Glenn. You need to do this." And I go, "I can't putt for you." And he goes, I'm going to crap my pants. Right here, I'm going to crap my pants. And I said to him, "Steve, you got this. You just send it on. There's a certain line. You put the ball on that line, it's going in." And he says, You're right. I can do this. And you know what? Damn it. I'm Handsome Steve. And I go, "That's right. That's who you are." He stands over the ball and he hits it, and it takes the first huge swing, and it climbs the hill, takes another swing, and drops center cup. And the best part about it is we beat Dennis Casey to go to the Derby. That's one of many stories. I think the only thing I can say is, Steve, you're always going to be my best friend.
I've known Steve for a lot of years now, and we had a funny story when we were in Cancun. We all went out for a big dinner, and we had a couple of drinks, and we ended up back at the condo, and everybody was pretty bushed from being on the beach all day long and drinking Steve's margaritas. We were sitting on the patio, and Steve said, "Well, let's do another shot of tequila." And I said, "Not for me, I'm going to bed." Well, I put it in the freezer, and it's all ready to go. So he goes into the condo, and he gets it and brings it out on the patio. And I think it was Steve and I and my son Riley and Cecily. And he pours a shot for everybody. So we all did that. And Riley said, "Oh, that was a pretty good shot." And Steve puts it back in the freezer, and I said, "Well, I'm going to bed." And he goes, "Well, one more shot. And I said, "No, not for me, I'm going to bed." And I think Cecily went to bed too. Well, when I got up in the morning, Steve usually meets me on the beach at 6 o'clock to get our chairs, and he didn't get out of bed, and I thought, well, what in the heck is he doing? And I went into the condo and opened the freezer, and there was about an inch of tequila left in that full bottle, and that was it. Well, I didn't see him till about 8 or 8:30 that morning, which is pretty unusual for him, and I didn't see Riley till after lunch. So when he came down to the beach, I said, "You want a Bloody Mary?" And he goes, "Yeah, I probably better wait just a little bit." And it was well after lunch until he had his first Bloody Mary. But true to his form, he was mixing margaritas in the condo by mid-afternoon. And we started again on margaritas, and we had another great day, just as we always did on the beach with him. He was a great guy to go on vacation with.
He always put his friends first. And for that, we're forever grateful. And to his family, and the friends that are not here that wanted to be here today. This is a very, very hard time for all of us, and we can't imagine what the family of Steve is going through, but our heart and prayers go out to their family.
Well, the history of Steve and I, we go back 10 years maybe, and I remember all the great times we've had throughout the travel experiences. He's showed me so much in life, from the times in New York City to the history of the Irish pubs and the cruises we've been on, the golf courses that he set me up on in St. Kitts and St. Croix, and the times that we spent in Cancun on the catamaran and just sitting on the beach, basically. The times when he would say, I say, "Man, it is a beautiful day out." And he goes, "Well, it doesn't suck." So the memories that I've had with him are all positive. There was no bad times ever. The times we spent at the lake with the campfires till midnight and dancing on the end table in our little cabin, and Sarah getting angry with him. It was the funnest times I've had with him. He was a special, great guy. I miss you, Steve.
He was always positive. When we would have a little too much to drink and we'd argue, or we'd start complaining about something, he'd say, "How about those Vikings?"
Yeah.
And it was his way of telling us, guys, let's stop it. Let's go have fun. But he had a positive attitude on everything he did.
Yeah.
Family, he was a tremendous husband. He was a tremendous father. And he made all of us better. You know, he kept us in line. He was one of the few that would keep me in line and say, you know, that's enough.
Yeah, 6 pickles.
Six pickles.
Vikings and pickles.
Yep.
Steve owned the Subways. I don't know, most everybody knows that, but we would golf on Wednesdays. 5 of us would go out 10 in the morning and play till dark. My wife could never believe we could play that late at night. And I said, well, you need to come out and watch sometime, because the last hole, there'd be lights from the golf carts on the green to finish. And the first 30 minutes of playing, I think I complained all the time. I know, it's shocking.
It's shocking.
Yeah. But Steve would say, 6 pickles, Donnie, 6 pickles. I go, what do you mean 6 pickles? He says, just keep it simple. Don't worry about it any more than you have to, and just 6 pickles. All I want my employees to do is 6 pickles. Not 7, not 5, 6. Just do what you're supposed to do, and everything will be fine. So you heard that all the time with Steve. Whenever you started complaining, 6 pickles, 6
Yep.
pickles.
Yep. He knew how to keep it going, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did.
I know we wanted to take him on the trip to Phoenix. We had the jet lined up. We had the room lined up. It was a 8-bedroom, 8-bath. He couldn't decide. He said, "Well, if you give me a room with a window, and you give me 6 strokes a side, I'm in." I said, "Okay, it's done."
No, he needed a bag of peanut M&Ms with
Without
no green
greens.
ones.
Without
So I
greens.
went and bought a bag of M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, and cut it open, dumped them all out, took all the green ones out, filled it back up, and put it together. He didn't know the difference. He says, "There's no green ones in there. That's what you want." I ate them all, by the way.
So Steve says, "You're really going to give me 6 strokes a side?" I said, "Yeah, but," I said, "Steve, the bad thing is we all get 6 strokes a side." He goes, "Oh, I never thought of that." And he had a great time, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And probably played better than I did, but better than most.
Yeah, everywhere you go with Steve, he would never. I mean, he would wake up first thing in the morning and he would go till midnight that night. I mean, that guy was the Energizer Bunny. He would never, ever quit.
Nope.
There would be times I'd ask him, I go, "Man, didn't you drink last night?" It'd be like I get up at 8:30 in Cancun and he's already watched the sunrise. with
Yeah,
him and
Bloody
Greg.
Mary.
Yeah,
Bloody Mary.
and a Bloody Mary. That guy, nothing fazed him. He was awesome.
Yeah, Bloody Marys in the morning, beer till through noon, and then margaritas.
And happy hour at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then a cigar. I always had to have a cigar.
Yeah, we'd get up and he'd bring just a jug of Bloody Marys there in the morning. You want one? Sure.
Yeah, Reggie started hanging around with us before he was old enough to.
Yeah, this was after I was 21. Everybody's watching.
Yeah, we didn't see no illegal substances to Reggie.
That's right.
That's right.
Had my first cigar with Steve. Golf game went downhill.
Yeah.
He did do well at the end. He was chipping really
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
really.
That guy
At the end, yeah.
was shockingly good at chipping at the
And
end.
then one of the best things I ever thought was when he went to the claw grip, because he was an amazing putter when he went to the claw grip. And Jeff always wanted him to get away from the claw grip, but the claw grip was the grip.
Well,
that
I always
he-
thought Steve thought it was a penalty if it went past the hole. So then he'd come up short and he'd go, "I know, Jeff. I know. I know."
Yeah, it got to be the thing that whenever somebody had come up with a putt short, oh, Steve.
The heart of gold.
He would leave 2 foot putts short.
Yes. Yes.
Didn't want to
never
run that
He
by.
never ran by it.
Oh man.
If you could tell in our golf outings, there was no one cut anybody any slack.
No.
I mean, it was tough, and all Steve and I ever wanted to do was beat Mark and Jeff. I mean, these guys, they'd make fun of us. Oh, look at them, they're over there clubbing off each other. I mean, we used to have bets if we could get past a tree. I mean, we sucked, but we had a lot of fun. We were always the last ones to the hole. These guys always beat us, and they had, you know, Jeff would be out there. How come the two worst players are riding together?
And these guys, I'll tell you, they like their little quarters because Mike Beck came up with a game. It's called handicaps. And then Steve was, man, now I'm starting to win money from these guys because I get a handicap. Instead, these guys just took his money every week.
Oh, we actually found a picture.
Yeah.
We found a picture, an old golf cash caddy picture.
Oh, really?
And Steve
Steve
was a
won.
winner.
Steve won.
He was so happy to finally get some money in his pocket.
That's right.
But he never complained.
No, he never.
Never.
You know, he'd hit a bad shot, didn't complain. He was the most joyful guy to play with because it was just fun. He did not complain.
And he would never talk about himself. It was
Never.
always, when you get there, you know, it's always, how are you doing? How's your family doing? How are the kids? And what are you doing this weekend? I mean, it's always about you. Even when he was battling at the end. I mean, I don't know how many times I'd go over there and I'd look at him and go, how you doing? And he'd just say, well, how are you doing, you know? He never even, I mean, he's just in pain, and he never complained. He swore he would not complain, and he didn't, ever.
He didn't.
He was solid all the way through it.
I mean,
We'd go to lunch, and he would sometimes have to stand up while having lunch.
yeah.
And yeah, it was precious moments going to lunch with him at Ron's or Murphy's. And
Hated to see him in pain.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when my mother-in-law passed, my brother-in-law got up and talked at the funeral about how their mother taught him everything, and she even taught him how to die at the end. And I'll never forget that. And Steve did the same thing. I mean, if I die, I want to be like Steve. I mean,
Yeah.
never complained.
I saw him on Tuesday, and everybody knows I talk too much, and I've told the same story over and over, and Steve started calling him, well, that's 32B story. And I started another one, he go, oh, that's 14. But I was in his bedroom, and he says, you know, Jeff, he says, I can't talk much, but he says, I just like hearing your voice. And I go, Steve, wow, you're pretty sick when you really like hearing my voice. But he was just amazing all the way.
Yes. Yep.
Even the day I went to see him, it wasn't about how he was doing it. He wanted to know how I was doing, and he apologized to me, and he said I'm not doing so good, buddy. And I just thought, man, you don't have to apologize to me. You're the toughest guy I know. He said, well, I don't know about that, but I'm trying. And to that day, he still did not want to quit trying. He wanted to live. He wanted to see his kids grow up and get married and be happy, and wanted to see what they become. And he just, what Sarah did for Steve for those for over 2 years, she never left his side. Mm-hmm. She was a true champ. I mean, unbelievable what she did.
I totally agree. And I have to say that the relationship you and Steve had was incredible. We went to the Lusk Eclipse, and Steve didn't think he could make it with the pain. So Donnie lined up 2 big buses, and we drove to Lusk to see the eclipse. We get there. Steve had Subway sandwiches lined out for lunch. We had champagne.
He had all set up, didn't he?
Yeah.
We played 18 holes of golf, had steak and wine, and that was a pretty special day.
That was
But
never.
you put that together, and Steve, I know, really appreciated that.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go. He said, I can't make that trip. And I said, we're going to get you there. If I have to put you in the back of a pickup and haul you on a mattress, we're going to make it down there. And he said he'd go, so we lined up the bus, and so he could lie down. He couldn't sit very long. But, I mean, what a fun trip that was. That's the
was
highlight,
That was
yeah.
fun.
Pretty special.
Lusk, Wyoming. Who would have ever thought? I think we were the only ones at the golf course.
We
There
were the
wasn't
only
many
ones
of
at the
us.
golf course.
Yeah, except for the newspaper.
Yeah.
Newspaper.
Yeah.
We were the only ones at the golf course.
That was pretty awesome. So we would play 30 or 45 holes of golf, and we'd go to Stonewall's and eat afterward. We had our own table, and one time they had a picture of Steve. Says, what was it, world's best putter.
Putter, yeah.
But we go up, and the waitress always knew Mark had his butter, and everybody had their special. Well, Steve accidentally put his sour cream.
Oh.
He thought it was sour cream. It was
horseradish?
on his potato. He ate it.
Yeah. Tell him about the cigar up on 14.
Oh, so Steve had a lesson, and the pro said, well, put this board down there and don't hit the board. It'll keep you from slicing. So we get on 14T. It's about 95 degrees. The wind's blowing. It's real dry. And he didn't have a board, so he thought, I'll put that cigar down there.
It's lit, by the way.
He hits the cigar. It goes down into the tall grass, and we can't find it. And we looked and looked and looked. And we knew, I said, you're going to burn Juan's house down. So for 2 hours we worried about going back up 15. We're going, hey, Steve, it's on smoke up there. He said he'd never do that again. And he didn't. But yeah, he set that down there, and that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Reggie brought this up, but when you're ever golfing and you hit a bad shot, you holler 4. It's an errant shot. I asked my wife, do you know what that means? She goes, no. I said, well, it's an errant shot. That means to cover up. You might get hit. Well, we're on 14, and the green's going towards the street, and there's a sidewalk beyond the green. You shouldn't hit it that far. But anyway, these kids are walking down the sidewalk, and Steve hits one thin, and it's going right at him. And instead of hollering 4, he goes, watch out, children. And then, oh, my God, we're all on the ground rolling, laughing. It never got to him, but it was just hilarious.
Watch out, children.
Watch out, children.
They're very caring.
What about your golf streak?
The streak. This was like in April of 2007. We golfed every month, more than a month, but every month for 11 years. And Steve had been playing for 2 years prior to that. So it was 150 some months in a row with Steve. And so that was the streak. And so, yeah, that was our 15 minutes of fame on TV. It was only 5, but it's pretty special. And
Go in, go in, go in, go in, go in!
that's an eagle putt.
If not weekly, at least monthly, year-round, you'll see 2 dedicated golfers here at Arrowhead Golf Course.
If you can find something you love to do and you can do it, why not? What else can you do today?
Right,
might as well
life is
be out.
short.
Yeah, it's 45 degrees. It's nice. All I got is a sweatshirt on. It's not cold.
These guys hold an unofficial record for the number of consecutive months of golf. A little snow does not keep them away.
It'll be 143. In February, it'll be 12 years in a row. And Donnie, my partner's got 106, but he's a lot healthier than me, so I had to get a jump on him.
They have all the essentials for year-round golf in Coda Territory.
Bought the golf cart and bought the kit. So
What
Steve and I could golf year round.
They have retrofitted their carts with plastic to cut the wind, and a heater if necessary.
Well, we have a heater, but we're not using it today.
But they have had to use that heater to keep the streak going.
What is the worst you've golfed in?
January 31st, 2010, 19 degrees.
Why did you do that?
Well, we had to get our round in.
I already got my round in January, but I was a sport and came out
He was
with
a
him
true
on the
sport, came out
31st.
with me, and we froze a little bit.
They move fast in the winter, since it's usually only warm enough to golf between 11 and 3. Before or after can just be too cold.
It gets cold quick. You might need a cordless drill to get your tee in the ground, but other than that, not bad for the golf course. A little bit different playing conditions. You get a lot more roll with your golf ball. Ground is frozen, but the golf course is still very playable, and as you can see, our members are enjoying themselves. So.
This time of year can be a challenge.
January, February are always the worst. So once we get past February, home free.
So do these guys golf in the winter for fun or just to keep the record going?
I hope you got that putt.
Oh, both. It's fun, and then kind of the streak continues. So as long as he's ready, I'm ready. So
How long will they keep the record going?
well, as long as we're healthy.
No, it was never about our goal. It was just about getting out and playing if it was nice out. Good shot. Geez, now that we're on camera, we can't cheat or anything.
But now they don't want the streak to end, and you can be sure they have a bet riding on it.
Yeah, lunch, a beer.
You professional golfers? I mean, how do you...
Well, we're professional golfers. I mean, somebody usually wins money, so I guess that would constitute a professional golfer.
I tell you, Steve, what you saw was what you got, and I tell you, always impressed me. It was you like me the way I am, or you don't like me, but he was always himself, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Steve taught me how to relax. He was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on edge all the time. A lot of people know me. Grouchy faced Lonnie, but Steve made me smile everywhere I went with that guy. We were smiling and hugging, and
Yeah.
I've got tons of pictures of him and I in different locations around Central America and New York City, and it's just they're all happy times. There was never a bad time.
And we've seen some, and you can't share them.
Right. Some of them.
Yeah, he was true to his word, and like I say, he always put you first, no matter how bad things were. Even at the end, he just never complained. He said he was not gonna give in to cancer.
We're gonna miss him in our golf group.
Too quick.
Too quick. 6 pickles.
6 pickles.
6 pickles.
How about those Vikings?
That's right.
Well, Steve.
We love
Love you, I miss you.
Cancer Steve, Subway
Steve.
Steve, Steve-O.
You're the finest.
Yeah.